Hello and welcome back to another episode of Boys Gone Wild. I am joined today by my co-host Andrew Kerwin.
Nice to be here.
That would be awful if we constantly spoke in this sort of binary tone.
We could do it, but it wouldn't go well.
This is a ChatGPT auto-generated podcast. Ha 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 ha.
It sounds a bit like the announcement you'd receive on terrestrial television if there was some sort of natural disaster.
Go for it.
Everyone stay inside. A meteor is about to strike your area.
I think it would be everyone stay inside. Meteor incoming in 3, 2, 1.
Have you never seen an apocalypse film?
Yeah, because you can't. That's the thing, is you can't.
You can't be panicking people.
But at what stage can you be panicking people?
Never.
But it's like we're all gonna die in. The scientists have said the meteor's gonna hit. We've got a minute.
Yeah.
Do you think Hugh Edwards is not going, for fuck's sake?
Well, I don't think it's Hugh Edwards. TV goes off and there's just like a message.
Just a ticker.
They'll have this all planned out.
Yeah.
They'll have these things recorded already. You're
They'll
not
have
clued
Chaos
in
Hugh.
enough. What?
They'll have Goth Hugh.
What's that?
It's an emergency that they've planned for. It's called Operation Stormbridge.
What's Goth You?
Goth Hugh. So Hugh then, Hugh Edwards has like he immediately dyes
Are you
his hair
suggesting
black.
that
He then gets black fingernails and he's like, I'm Goth Hugh.
Are you suggesting that Hugh Edwards is using the apocalypse to show his true colours?
No, I'm saying, I'm not suggesting that actually. I'm saying that BBC have planned for a lot of inevitabilities and
But
one.
they haven't planned for Goth You.
No, they have planned for Goth. The only reason they have Goth Hugh is because it's part of Operation Stormbridge, which is if a meteorite is coming in, they get
Why
Hugh,
would they call it Operation Stormbridge if it was a meteorite?
because it's a code name.
Well, it's a code name that also sounds like a different natural disaster.
Yeah, but it's code names is partly to trick thickies like you.
So if for instance a thickie like me got
Had
hold
the
of,
torch in your mouth and you're going through.
and they must be preparing for some sort of Stormbridge disaster.
I now know the only way to get, Hugh Edwards into a goth attire would be to create a storm on a bridge. You create a storm on a bridge, nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
You've been fooled.
So, and then a couple of weeks later, a meteor strike happens.
Yeah.
And then he comes out, but I don't have long to enjoy him.
If you wanted to create a storm bridge and see what that was, that's Operation Flaming Meteorite.
Right. So what's like a tsunami?
That's called No Water in the Desert.
Alien invasion?
Yeah. Alien invasion is we need more cheese.
A different virus, a death-eating virus. Well, people-eating virus.
That would be Snip Snip.
Snip Snip.
Snip Snip.
Operation Snip Snip.
Snip Snip.
Saying this.
Yeah.
My time communicating with the police to higher and lesser degrees of success, they do have operations, like it's quite as traditional as you'd think, and some of them are ridiculous and they have no relevance to it. Operation Mincemeat, I've seen.
Really? Well, no, that's a show.
No,
that's a BBC show.
It's a BBC show. Oh dear.
You're thick.
Yeah, I am a bit. It probably
You're
is.
fucking thick, mate. Operation Mincemeat.
It does sound like.
Oh, yeah, it's on Now TV.
Right. So it's not a real thing.
No, it's it's written by Ben McIntyre.
Well, that says everything. So not that.
Yes.
But they do other ones, which I clearly can't remember.
Sorry, because you're just pulling one because you've seen it on.
Maybe I'm not even allowed to say it.
Maybe.
So.
Yeah.
Well,
Good
that could
for
have.
you.
Well, that's Operation Mincemeat would be the perfect operation name because
Yeah.
people would see it and go, "Oh, that's just a TV show," whereas actually it's a genuine police investigation.
True, and I bet that Operation Mincemeat. I bet there's not much mincemeat involved.
Do you think
in
there's
operation.
any mincemeat involved?
I don't think so.
Well, mincemeat is slang for like you're dead chump.
Is
suck
it?
it? Suck it. Yeah, your mincemeat, your bird
Oh
food,
yeah,
your
yeah.
worm food, your fish food.
Yeah.
For the horses. That's not one.
You're for the sea.
Your time's up, Buddo.
You said you had a great gripe this week.
Oh, we're going straight into the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I went to a pub on Sunday, and I think I had the most embarrassing experience of my life. It might not appear like it, but so it wasn't. Not many people saw it.
No.
But it was just the action of it, and also the couple of people saw it. And when I finished it, I was like, objectively, I think that's the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me. Although there wasn't like a reaction.
Was this when you went
to
back
it.
home?
No, this was on Sunday, so I was back in London.
This wasn't in a local pub, was it?
It was, yeah.
Which pub?
I don't even know the name of it.
Okay, so it wasn't.
So
It wasn't the
different
Rusty
story.
Bike.
It wasn't the Rusty Bike. No, and it wouldn't have happened in the Rusty Bike. And the reason, the thing is, it's not my fault.
Go on.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault.
It's not my fault.
I like that scene.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's going into therapy saying it's not my fault. It is your fault.
And especially
the therapist is.
If I'm going into therapy for this, you'll be very surprised.
It
But
is your fault.
it's actually right. It's the pub's fault, and so this is why it's a gripe essentially.
Yeah.
I went to the roast. It was kind of a weird pub. There was a lot of carrier bags around. Yeah.
Bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Food good though.
Good food. Food good. Bad vibes.
Bags too much. They looked like they were constantly. It looked like they were preparing for. It looked like backstage of something.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of odd things, and this was one of the odd things in there. So I was happy as Larry, talking to all my pals, and then went, Drew, I need to go to the toilet, right?
Yeah.
I was a little bit hungover, and then I went to the male toilets, and it said gents in the middle of two doors. On one door it said one, and on the other door it said two. And I thought, what the fuck is all that bullshit? What do you mean? I was like, I guess I'll go into the one that's labelled one.
Yeah.
And then it became clear what the labels were for.
What?
I went into one and it was just a urinal.
Yeah.
So clearly one is wee and two is, poo.
Shit.
Yeah. And now, so then I had to go out of the toilet, out of the one, and embarrassingly walk to the two.
Why?
Because I needed a poo.
Oh, that's humiliating.
Because imagine like someone being a bit confused and then go into the door, disappear, and then 10 seconds later walk out with their head like slumped and then go into the two.
Did anyone catch you humiliating yourself like this?
I think there was a family enjoying a roast dinner right in front of the toilets. So I think they would have caught me.
You make it sound like that's part of the enjoyment.
Yeah, they didn't pay for the premium seats. But
is watching people go in and out of the toilets.
Like what? That is a stupid thing to label, because I guess what they've done is they changed the disabled toilets into just a toilet.
Yeah,
like a cubicle.
Yeah.
And then the other one they just kept the urinals there. And then they thought, well, we've got to be discreet about this. I mean, ways that places differentiate between boys and girls toilets has always been hilarious.
Yeah.
I think we've covered that before, actually.
I think Sean Lott covered it in his 2002 special.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's where we get most of our material. But then to differentiate between what you're actually doing in the toilets, unfortunately for this pub, because of their refurbishment decisions, is necessary.
Sure.
But they didn't think it through.
Would you call it...
Because 1 and 2 is not clear enough. Because when have you ever been to a pub that's like, you need to poo in here and piss in there? Never, not once.
And ladies, they're just going to the shithole.
Yeah, sure.
Well, because it's...
Yeah, but I didn't venture into the ladies.
Oh, this is all.
I don't venture into the women's toilets.
In the men's.
Yeah, obviously.
So how could people see you?
What? Because I left the toilet. Right, like you're a bit confused, aren't you? We need to do some clearing up. What's going on? What do you think happened?
I need to
go to your mind palace so you can understand this very rudimentary situation.
Was it Doctor Strange? This
yeah. All right, now get out of the portal.
Go back in time to work out.
Yeah, go back in time. Look at it. Right, watch it, and now come back. What happened?
So there's 3 doors. No,
there's 2.
So there was the
what do you mean? There's 3 doors. Go back. Instead of going back to just go back to 10 seconds ago when I explained the story. Right, that will help. Yeah. So why do you think there's 3? Are you getting the ladies involved?
No. So
you're not.
Well, hold up. So there's you saw it was the men's. There was a men's. Where's the men's logo?
So if you listened, I said there was the word gents in between two doors.
Fine.
I then went on to
What
say
happened in the
one door
ladies?
was labelled 1 and the other door was labelled 2.
Where's the ladies?
The ladies is I'm just going to clarify how insane it is that you think why. But you said you thought. I just want to get to the bottom of this. Why did you think there was 3? But you said it wasn't the ladies.
I think it was because I thought you said 3 doors.
When at any point. And what's
check the tape?
I know. I'm so confident on this. I think it was a big giveaway is that one of the doors said 1 and the other door said 2. Not once have I mentioned the number 3.
Yeah, I guess in my head I was setting it up as in my head I was predicting that the gripe was going to be about misplay. I thought you were going to go into the women's bathroom.
Right. So you were.
So it confused me because I was like, where are these? Are these women squatting on urinals?
Right. So you predicted what I was going to say. Yeah. And then after I said what I said, you presumed that prediction was correct.
I thought it was about 50-50 which one was right.
Right, but you weren't quite knowledgeable.
I think
it is astounding.
I would say you're an unreliable narrator. If I was to...
And you were the most unreliable listener I've ever fucking heard.
I think if it was English GCSE talking about you telling stories, they'd be like, be warned, this guy's an unreliable narrator.
We've been through this. I am an unreliable narrator when it comes to historical things. When it comes to 2 days ago, and the amount of doors is actually vital to the story, I think I'm fairly reliable.
Sure.
So there were 2 doors. Do we need to do... It's also astonishing how we are able to do this podcast, given the regularity of which you don't listen to what I say.
Yeah, I'm gone.
But there's 2 doors... So why would that? Right, the 3 I don't. There's nothing to do with the ladies. I come out of 1 and have to go into 2. I did see the ladies.
Was there 2 doors for that?
There was just the 1.
Just the 1. Was that numbered?
Because they don't have the problem.
Yeah. But it's just you understand. It's interesting to see how this pub approaches the female problem.
But the reason why they had the problem that they had was because of the refurbishment. They clearly changed a disabled toilet into just a normal toilet or not whatever, an able toilet.
Conjecture.
And then the other one was urinal. Yeah. So they had to then, let's get back on it actually. So they then had to differentiate between, which ones you need to go in.
So they chose,
So you can't go pee or poop.
You could go piss, trough and shit bucket.
Well, the family were sitting right outside eating their roast.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be gnawing on a turkey leg with poo bucket.
Poo bucket and piss
while
trough.
eating gravy. No.
But for you, it would have been clearer.
Yeah.
Would it? I don't know if it would.
Well, the thing is, because it's a tough one. What we'll now do is work out the best way to approach this. The obvious best way to approach this is don't do those refurbishments.
Yeah.
I'd like to say, what was the name of the pub? I don't remember. Something of the Angel of Bow. Down there. It was strange to go down there. But...
Yeah, don't go that way.
Well, I did.
You shouldn't ever.
And then I ended up...
Don't go further east. Yeah. It's only...
Well, yeah, I ended up humiliating myself. But you can't be too overt with it because there's families eating roast around you. But then I don't want any poop and piss. Shit and wee.
Yeah.
Waz and farts.
Yeah. A fart room.
It's just got nothing. It's just an empty room.
Soundproofed. This refurbishment, I think this was on there. I think you could have afforded a disabled toilet as opposed to a fart room.
Yeah. But so you can't. Obviously, you can't do that.
Slop, isn't it?
But you can. But I would like to avoid it happening to other people in the future because 1 and 2 isn't clear enough.
Yeah,
that's not clear. If you're going and you see gents and you see 1 and 2, you're like, I'm not presuming that that's what I need to be doing in there. Are you presuming? No. So what could it be?
Urinals
and cubicle.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that, isn't
really
it?
simple.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
That's why it's a fucking gripe because they're trying to be cutesy, but they've ended up. I would love to know the amount of people that have walked into the 1 and have to embarrassingly walk out of that with their tail between their legs and walk into the 2.
How embarrassing? Because I think maybe in my head I thought it was going to be more embarrassing. The only people who witnessed your embarrassment were a family of 6, right?
Yeah, but that's why I said at the start, again, something I also said. My preface. I know that was maybe 5 minutes ago, but I said not that many people saw it, so
Yeah.
it wasn't viscerally the most embarrassing thing. But technically, I think it's one of the most embarrassing things that's ever happened to me. If we go through blow by blow, imagine the feeling.
What, you mean pound for pound?
Pound for pound.
Yeah, it
most
was obviously
embarrassing thing.
featherweight division, but
If you imagine like an audience watching that,
yes, fine.
then that's ridiculously
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Yeah,
Because
and it would be more embarrassing if you left piss trough into the shit bucket room.
that's what I did.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if it was labelled that, that's why they shouldn't label it.
No,
that.
I think there's something more embarrassing about the 1 and 2 because it's the double thing of you clearly didn't understand what that meant and you need a poo.
That's double. That's
Yeah.
it's a double whammy.
Yeah, I guess that's because there's it's a fair reason it's a fair thing to not get, and it's so over, and because people be like, why is he just
the lad needs a shite.
the lad needs a poop?
Yeah.
So that's my gripe.
If you then left that room and went to 3, which is the fart room, that would be
Oh yeah, sorry, that's not right.
that would be
I'm just looking for the fart room.
that
Is
would
it
be
the chill of the
more
fart room is?
humiliating than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good gripe. I have a. This is a gripe. But it's just once again. I went to Francomanca this last week. Sorry, I don't know why your face made me laugh. You look like
I looked
I was
a bit scared.
You look like I was insinuating something of you.
You what?
I went to Francomanca.
What? Yeah.
They didn't cut my pizza. They didn't cut anyone's pizza.
Right.
What is going on there?
Right.
Why is everyone? Why is it always the case?
Right. Italian style.
Why?
Do they do that in Italy?
I don't care. This is something where it's like I'm
they
all
do in
for
Italy.
authenticista.
Authenticitys.
Yeah, I want it all to be like a Birra Moretti advert. Sure.
Well, then you don't. If you want your pizza sliced, you don't.
I
want it
don't
like
think
that.
the sliced takes out of any authenticity, and I think it's absolutely insane
You lose a lot of mozza.
when they give you a slab, this giant slab of tough sourdough.
Don't use mean words to make it sound worse than it was, because then it's just sounding like you don't like the pizza.
No, the pizza was great.
Yeah, but you're going this giant
No,
lard
but
thing of
what I don't-
gross sourdough.
What I don't like is with the nearly always relatively blunt cutlery that's at a pizza joint.
Right.
You know, it's not like you got steak knives or something.
Yeah.
Where you have to mangle and maim your like Jeffrey Dahmer on a carcass, just fucking like that. And then suddenly it's now I'm tired. The beauty of a pizza.
You wouldn't do a good job of it as well.
I wouldn't, but I think it's still a universal rule.
No one
that
does a
everyone
great
right
job,
now,
but you would do a bad one.
Yes, fine. You're happy with that, aren't you?
Yeah.
You can proceed.
Go on.
Everyone's shit, but you're even worse than
Yeah.
that. Good?
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, go on.
And I think everyone is relating with this because part of the joy of the pizza, probably not only is it taste
Top
good.
5?
Probably.
Really?
Probably.
Top 5 joys is that it comes cut.
No, sorry, I thought you mean
Ease.
I'm just saying that part of the reason why pizza is like so popular is because it's so easy. It's the easiest takeaway. It's the easiest of all these things. That takes out so much of the enjoyment of the ease. Because by the time I've cut it, I'm fucking tired. There's cheese and fucking
Well, yeah, because you're doing all
tomato everywhere,
Look,
and it's get a proper pizza cutter, which you can easily have behind there, but every single one you sort out before it comes.
Now I'm torn on this.
Go on. I don't think there is another argument, personally.
I generally agree. I also had a pizza at Zizzy's this weekend, which wasn't cut, and I had to cut myself. It was also a rustica pizza, which is almost oblong in shape, and that's always like I don't know where to stand. Where do I stand with this?
Yeah,
Like,
what's your
my rustica attempt is thus: slap bang down the middle, obviously width, not length, right? And then you just do as much. You try and make as many triangular as possible, and you just accept that there's going to be the runt of the litter at the end.
Yeah.
But this is besides the point.
you looked at me for comment, and I didn't know.
Yeah, like there's not, and I wouldn't even. I'm not even that interested in what I just said.
Huge amount for me to add.
I thought you might have a different tactic.
No,
but you don't really have approaches.
It's free for all.
So I had one as well. We've both had one in the week. I agree it would be better if it was cut.
Yeah.
I agree, especially if they don't bring you if you're not going to cut it, bring a pizza roller thing, a pizza cutter, but then there's something about bringing out a pizza cutter which makes it feel like you're doing the chef's work for him.
And they know that because
So that's why they don't bring it out.
because it would reveal the fact that they're not doing their job.
Yeah.
I just don't know how hard it is. If you're going through all the work, you're at work, you're putting it into the oven, you're getting it out, you put in the tomato sauce on, you're doing all of that. How much more work is it doing that? Whereas I'm going for a relaxing pizza evening with my friends.
The customer's always right.
It's not a trendy place. It's pizza time, which is in many ways a sort of like, let's all stop pretending to be all hip. We're here at a pizza joint. We're here to relax.
It's a slob fest.
It's a slob fest.
Pig
I'm out
meat
with.
slob fest.
I'm at a pizza party with my pals.
Well, do you want to know why the Italians don't do it?
Why?
Pizza at the restaurant in Italy is served unsliced in the great majority. This isn't amazing English. The great majority of cases, because this helps. It's probably an Italian restaurant because this helps its presentation and flavour, preventing the runny pizza topping from leaking off the pizza base and wetting the edges. Not slicing the pizza for customers also minimises the risk of it cooling down.
Okay, so that's absolute bullshit.
Yeah,
and you agree. That's complete nonsense. Because you're handing it to me to do the same.
Yeah.
All of the shit that you've just said. Presentation, go fuck yourself.
It should, presentation. If I was I was having the best pizza in Italy, maybe I would want it to look like a whole pizza, but not in Franco Manco.
But in my head,
not in Hayward Steve's Izzy's.
In my head, part of the presentation of in my head, the sliced pizza is.
Because you've been indoctrinated.
No, I haven't.
By Goodfellas and Domino's.
Well, unrealistic
aspirations of pizza. It's unrealistic.
In my head, the pizza aesthetic is the sliced pizza.
Yeah,
because it seems so inaccessible. The unsliced pizza.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have a come hither.
But
the sliced pizza it's giving a little bit of leg. It's showing a lacy. You know, it says "Come hither, take a slice." But then when it's not sliced, it looks like a Bastille. You know.
Yeah. No, it does. I agree.
Tough walls.
I do agree. I would just say
what's Domino's deal?
Because
they're not always sliced, are they?
Once I went, they're always sliced.
Always sliced.
Once I went to my friend's birthday party when he was living in Guildford, and we went to a park, and he said,
I was there.
And he said, you were, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah. When he was like, we're going to get pizza, but they don't slice it, so can someone bring scissors?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
That's not, You shouldn't be having that conversation with anyone.
Who brings scissors to a party?
Yeah, that's a good
That's a good point. You know, a psychopath.
Maybe I'd be like, here's free scissors so you can cut all of our pizzas. That's what I would.
What? Oh, right. Yeah. Or you just buy them a pizza slicer.
Yeah.
There is particularly, that was just a takeaway pizza. They served it in pizza boxes. They know people are going out and eating it in the sunshine in a park, and they're still not cutting it.
Yeah.
That is insane.
I just find that the kind of orthodoxy around it, there's a real discipline in not cutting pizza.
Well, which
seems so weird. I thought I understand some people trying to be hip, but I think in many ways at a restaurant it's almost the norm not to cut pizzas.
It's becoming that way, and that's true. The one thing I disagree with on a personal note, because I believe it should be, I believe it should be cut, and I agree with you. Yeah. However, I don't mind when it's not cut.
Go on.
Because it's another chance to exercise discipline in food.
Sure.
I'm big on savouring at the moment. I'm really trying to slow down and enjoy it, because you do just enjoy it so much more if you slow yourself down.
Yeah.
And the act of, it's a bit like wrapping a fajita.
Mm-hmm.
You finish one slice, you finish one fajita, and now you've got a bit of a respite. You've got to think, I've got to, build this fajita and wrap it up.
You're doing cardio.
I'm doing some cardio. I'm doing some brain teasing. It's all like the fajita wrapping ain't simple, honey.
Mohammed has 6 slices. Jonah has 3.
But so what wrapping each individual fajita and slicing each individual slice of pizza does is slow you down. You contemplate your meal. You take your time. You drink it all in.
So you're doing it one slice at a time?
Yeah, because I'd used to be a bit like a maniacal.
Get it all done.
Get it all done so I can relax.
Yeah.
But now I've realised the truth.
I don't want to relax at any point throughout this meal.
Exactly. I want to always have a job just in front. I want to know a job is only a few bites away. But but it's actually different pizzas, because when I have a pizza at Spoons, they don't cut it. One of the best pizzas you'll have, by the way, is at Wetherspoons. Take that tip and run with it.
Yeah.
At Spoons, they don't.
It's good for the price.
It's good pizza. It's good czar. It's good pie. It's good pie, man. It's good pie. And for real, man, it's good pie. Trust me. Get the spicy meat feast with a garlic dip on a hangover. You're fucking laughing.
Yeah.
I've been there for dinner once.
Yeah.
Went there for dinner. Wasn't like just a normal weekday.
Really?
Yep.
It was big. It was
by
late
myself.
Night. Really?
No.
No.
But I will slice that up all the way.
Yeah.
Because this contradicts what I just said. I have less respect for that pizza.
Yeah. Yeah.
It swings and roundabouts.
Yeah. Comment below your thoughts.
Yeah.
We have now started opening up topic discussions to the Privy Council, our Patreon, which you can join in the link below. Opinions on fat suit in reference to the whale. So I haven't really been up to date with any of the Oscar stuff. A lot of the films seem to bore me. I'm not that interested in a lot of the films this year. I'm just not
you are
up to date with it. I like Tar.
And
I like
kind of like
Triangle.
Banshees.
It's fine.
Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah, just it wasn't like who's gonna win. You know, there's nothing that particularly excited me. But the whale, I have no idea what the whale's about.
Neither do I.
Oh.
Not a clue.
I have no clue. I haven't watched it. I haven't even seen a trailer for it.
Neither have
I've
I.
only seen fat.
I've seen posters.
I've seen fat Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
And I know it's called The Whale. And I know it's directed by Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah. I know that's my extent of knowledge as well.
So what do you think it's about?
Well, didn't he actually get fat for it? Is that a fat suit?
No, it has to be a fat suit because he's so fat in it. He wouldn't be able to get that fat. That's like medically.
But I swear
that's like your heart might collapse.
But I swear I saw him about the weight gain.
No, he was already just quite fat. But this is like super, super fat.
Right. So okay.
Oh, I did see a clip of it, and he was in the shower, having to hold on to a thing because he's morbidly. So I think it was weird.
Is it about morbidly obese?
I think it is.
Brendan Fraser.
I think it's about. So imagine the people on the Channel 5 documentary, Britain's Fattest Man. You know, where they do shots around the house of them trying to survive.
What, everyday life?
Like getting out of bed,
trying to survive.
Yeah. I think it's like an art house film take on that.
So is it just about the plight of the fat man?
The fat man.
The fat man.
The plight in modern society of the fat man. Well, I have no idea.
Is it like a kind of...
Our friend Michael said it was awful, but Brendan Fraser's performance was amazing.
Right. Is it kind of like an exploration of the family dynamic of the fat...
Yeah. I think I saw one clip, I think, of his furious daughter.
Mm.
I think he was angry because he's fat.
Because he's fat, right.
And then he was like, I know I'm fat. I'm fat because I feel insecure, and that makes me more fat.
Right.
And then there's always that clip, which is like the really like Oscar baity clip, which is like they show the denouement, they show the big unraveling.
Yeah.
And it's him going, what is it? He's all fat and he's crying, and this is what they'd show during the Oscars, I imagine. Brendan Fraser, The Whale.
Yeah.
And then him being, I want to do something for once in my life that means something.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Have you seen that clip?
I have.
Yeah.
I
and
think
he's
you
like,
got it.
Was it that?
Yeah, I think you almost got it word for
vaguely,
word.
yeah.
Means something, or that he's
I'm
proud
fat
of.
and I don't want to be fat anymore for once in my fat life.
Yeah, that's probably more accurate. Yeah, no, I can't even hazard a guess, actually.
Really? No. It's called The Whale.
It's weird. It's the only one I don't really know anything about. Why don't I know much about it?
Yeah.
It's never attracted me.
Yeah.
I don't remember it. Yeah, I've never been interested, but because it's so much about the return of Frasier.
Yeah.
Not the sitcom.
Not the sitcom. And then it being called...
But I never really noticed he was gone.
Now, it's by Aronofsky. It's clearly like an art house film that's going to be bold. When they call it The Whale, there's got to be a...
Could have been a satire.
There's got to be another meaning to it, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be... It's going to be like...
It's not just this man's as big as a whale. It has to be.
It has to be. Surely.
Because that's like something you could do a parody of fat documentaries and call it Finding the Whale.
Yeah, exactly.
Britain's biggest whale.
Yeah. I hope that there's... Maybe he's really into whales, and
Right.
that represents the great unknown.
So it's his hobby.
or something like that, or like he's on the beach
There's a
and this
Moby
whale.
Dick.
There's a beached whale, you know.
That's too on the nose.
probably, but still, if there's no mention of a whale,
then
and it's just
then it
fat
has to be.
Then I'm like, that is a bit much.
If anyone's seen it, can you comment?
It's like having a film about a
Is
fat
there a-
person, like Brad Pitt in a fat suit, and calling
Yeah.
it the snuffling hog.
It's not quite like that. It's not quite like that. But then you're right.
gurgling pig.
There has to be something. It could be like a loose Moby Dick reference.
Yeah, well, that's
He's
nice.
looking for something.
Killing a whale.
Well, he's looking for meaning, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's fat.
What does the whale mean? But I think at minimum it's a double entendre.
Minimum. Has to be.
Which is rude.
Well, double's all right. It's the single entendre that's the rude one.
No, I still think double's a bit like, you can't be calling people whales as a movie name.
It's the only time in my life that anything ever meant anything.
Shut up, you're a whale. You can't call it this, surely.
I'm a whale.
We are just going off the poster of the film. By the way.
That's a good way to. That's a great way to have a film pod.
What?
Just go off,
yeah.
maybe teasers and posters and
Say
sort
what
of,
you think it is and then review it aggressively. 2 stars.
I didn't like the way
2 stars, not for me.
Well, what are you going to give the whale?
I'm going to give the whale 3 stars.
3
I
stars.
think Brendan really pulled it through.
Yeah, I'd say it's between 2 and 3 stars. I bet I'm going to.
There was far too much time with him just in the shower. I thought that was a bit inappropriate.
Yeah.
But and for me,
we've seen the before. I want to see the after. Do you
exactly.
know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, the metaphor of the whale was a bit forced when he was rolling down the beach and just saw a beached whale and then ended up lying next to it. I thought that was actually quite offensive.
I think when he fell asleep on the beach.
Yeah.
After being so he emotionally found the beach whale.
Hated that bit too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know when he saw the beach whale
Yeah.
and then emotionally saw himself as the beach whale.
Yeah.
And then in that moment of realization, he sort of drifts off into a nap.
Yeah.
And then he wakes up and he's being dragged back into the ocean by emergency services who have misunderstood that they thought the beach whale was him
and he was the beach whale. Yeah.
I think I didn't like that bit.
That bit was a bit on the nose. That bit was a bit on the nose. What did you think of the ending?
What, when he exploded because of the gas?
No, when he swam into the sea and became a whale himself.
Well, I think when they had the big title card saying the whale. I think it's like that's on the nose.
That's on the nose because he is the whale and he's become the whale. And what was the point of the film? It was like Brendan Fraser turning from a fat man into an actual whale.
I think.
What was it saying?
I think the main point in the film is look how fucking fat Brendan Fraser is. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
You know that guy from the Mummy? Look how fat this
he's a
cunt
whale
is.
now. Did you not know? He's a whale.
That was the main point, I think, of the whale.
So 3 stars.
Yeah.
It was nearly there in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything else about the Oscars?
Jimmy Kimmel hosted it. Is he just going to be the default guy when
something happens?
What was he? Did he host it last year?
Because
it feels like he's part of like a fixture of the wall in the theatre almost.
For some reason, when you said the wall, I immediately went to
the whale.
the BBC game show. When you had
hosted by Warwick Davis or by Danny Dyer.
Oh, I'm thinking.
Neither.
Oh, that's Danny Dyer, but I was thinking of Hole in the Wall. Do you remember Hole in the Wall when different celebrities and members of the public?
Is this good podcasting?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I say something else and then you thought of something
you mean
while
this
I was...
bit?
Yeah. Is this good podcasting right now?
Briefly.
When I was saying Jimmy Kimmel was a fixture of the wall and then you, for some reason, thought of something else and now start talking about it and then got the game show wrong. Was that good podcasting or was that bad podcasting?
It wasn't respectable broadcasting, but I think it might just be good podcasting.
Okay, sure. Because I think we had the same foundational principles as the BBC to educate, to entertain, and to inform.
Yeah.
And are we staying true on all 3 of those?
Educate. If people didn't know about Hole in the Wall, the game show, then they're about to. Inform. If people don't know about Hole in the Wall, the game show, then they're about to. And what was the last one?
Entertain.
Obviously,
nothing funnier.
So Hole in the Wall was a game show when it used to be you'd get celebrities and members of it's just a brief aside, celebrities and members of the public, and they'd all have to put on lycra kind of suits, And then
That's the hook.
it would go, "Hurr, hurr, hurr," and then a wall would be revealed, and it would be in the shape of a person doing a certain difficult action.
Oh, yeah.
And the wall would get closer to them. They'd scramble trying to get in the right place, and if they didn't get it, the wall would hit them, and they go into the water. It's a great game show. Everyone should check it out. It was hosted by someone ridiculous, but I can't remember
who. Eamon Holmes.
A lot camper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Did they fall into gunk? Was it Nickelodeon?
It could have been gunk, but I think it's water.
Because I feel that game show was there's an actual game you can do on either like a Japanese style arcade or on like a Wii where you have to get your body into the shape.
On the Wii?
Yeah, you could play Hole in the Wall, like a version of it on one of those.
Sounds shit.
Those motion. Remember we thought the Wii was going to change?
What I was thinking then was, why have we moved away from the Wii?
Yeah,
I still play. I keep forgetting to bring the Wii up, but
you're gonna bring the Wii up?
Yeah. I used to play it when I was
Wii Sports. It didn't really get any better than Wii Sports though. Wii Sports was their like start a game.
Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah.
Great show.
Oh, Wii Sports.
It got a lot better about it.
Really?
Yeah, I used to, when I was doing my master's dissertation,
Yeah.
I would finish up for the day.
On Wii Sports Resort. That was what his master's dissertation was about.
Yeah, it was. The intricacies, the political fallouts and controversies behind it. No, I would finish up for the day and put on some music and play 18 holes at the Wii Sports Resort golf course. And I'd used to pretend I was in a major tournament. So I'd play 4 rounds of 18 holes and I'd say what my opponent had got. So 12 under. And then I'd have to beat that.
When you say,
yeah,
would you say it out loud?
Say what?
You said say what my opponent had got.
I would write it down and say it out loud. I go 14 under. I mean, I'd have to beat that.
But a big part of the appeal of golf
I was like 20. No, it wasn't.
Is being able to practice sportsmanship under pressure. That's a big appeal for you, isn't it?
No. Nonsense.
You don't think the competitiveness and then showing a good handshake?
It's one of my favourite things about sport. Doesn't mean that's not why I'm doing 18 holes on Wii Sports Resort. No, you don't play against. You can't play against someone. You have to play by yourself because otherwise they don't have any like AI. So that would be great if you could play against someone. I'd love to do some match play. Yeah. That's a great idea. But that's aside.
That counts as an aside.
Hole in the wall.
So that was that good podcasting. Just that last 5 minutes.
The jury is out on that one. I'm not really sure. It was certainly a stream of consciousness to go from Hole in the Wall to Wii Sports Resort.
I don't know if it's excellent or bad, just bad broadcasting.
But it's, you know what? It's all we can do. So we can't really change it now. It's really a take it or leave it.
That's all we've got.
It's a take it or leave it situation.
Yeah.
We can't suddenly become professional. But no, hold on. Let's trace it back. Wii Sports Resort.
No, I was talking about Jimmy Kimmel being part of the wall of the
so it all came from the word wall. But that's a weird phrase to use. You should have said part of the furniture.
Yeah.
No one says part of the wall.
But it's funny, like he's part, and he comes out
like in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah. And they just get him out. He's just so like down the line. It's unbelievable.
With like barnacles on.
Yeah. Yeah.
When do you ever see a barnacle other than in a pirate film?
I've seen barnacles.
When have you seen a barnacle?
Bottom of a boat.
I fear we're going on another tangent. Wait, which boat?
I've been on boats.
Well, you've been on a boat recently.
Yeah, so on the bottom.
Were there barnacles at the bottom of the boat?
Barnacles on the boat. Also, I went to.
Well, there were barnacles at the bottom of the boat in Bali.
Yes.
What were the big barnacles at the bottom of the boat in Bali?
Not as big as Cornwall. Cornwall has bigger barnacles than Bali.
Well, Cornwall has bigger barnacles than the barnacles in Bali.
Yeah, the barnacles in the boat in Bali weren't as big as the barnacles on the boat in Bude in Cornwall.
That's weird because I'd think that the barnacles in Bude in Cornwall would be bigger than the barnacles in Bali in the boat. Damn.
They were.
Right, so I was right about the barnacles in Bali being larger.
No, the
bigger.
Barnacles in. So,
right.
Yeah. So everywhere, anywhere, all the time, behind the bin, upstairs, one did a pretty clean sweep of the Oscars.
That wasn't the name of the film.
Was it not?
No, I think
what
you got
called?
that vastly wrong.
What was it called?
I think you just said like wherever, all the time, everywhere did well.
Yeah.
You've made me forget it.
Yeah. All the time.
No, everywhere. You've made me fucking forget. Everywhere, anywhere. No, that's wrong. Everywhere.
Everywhere goes. All at once.
Everywhere, any.
Yeah.
You know, the one thing we're meant to do quite well is film stuff, and we're not.
No, I know, everywhere, everything, everywhere, all at once is what it is.
Oh, you do know it?
Yeah.
Oh, you having? Well, I didn't.
Yeah.
So, we've got the same outfits on. That's swept up. Well, green and blue. I know this is slightly black, but they're jeans. It's a green top and dark jeans.
That's black.
And what?
That's black.
That's navy.
That's black.
That's navy.
You're colourblind.
I am a bit.
I'm sure you are. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I said something. Elle's convinced that a pair of my trousers are brown, and she's lost her fucking mind.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to settle this.
Navy.
Yeah.
I could bring them up in a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, that swept up. I think unfairly. I wanted Tar to win, but I didn't care enough about Tar to really want it to win.
Sure. Yeah, they won 3 acting things. I don't know. I feel a bit of a fucking Scrooge, not like loving everywhere because everyone fucking lost their minds, and it's great to see young filmmakers be creative, and it's good to see a film with such a out there
eyeballs to heads.
Yeah, it's good to see a film so out there, cleaning up. I guess it's good to have the Asian American representation and stuff. But I thought it was a piece of shit. Not a piece of shit. I completely disconnected from it because there was a moment I watched it with Paddy, which is never a good sign because we're both miserable. And I think half an hour through it, after I think we'd gone through about 5 million different scenarios.
No, I think there's 6.
Yeah, 6 million. Yeah. Paddy goes to me, "Do you think the whole film's going to be like this?" And I said, "I think it will be." Yeah. And the whole film was like that.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to enjoy the rest of it when someone says that to you.
Yeah, and so it probably did.
Yeah, it ruined it.
Yeah, and and it was obviously cute to see the guy who was Indiana Jones win Best Actor. The Asian boy.
He was Indiana Jones.
The one in the child in Indiana Jones.
Oh, is he? He was also in the
Goonies. You've not been following that emotional story?
No. He was in the Goonies, wasn't he?
No.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He was in the Goonies.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Are you sure he's in Indiana Jones?
Positive.
Well, I'm positive about the Goonies.
The whole point, the emotional pull of this year's Oscars was... Well, there was also Fat Brendan Fraser winning an award.
I think that was the emotional pull.
No, that was actually the secondary emotional pull. The main emotional pull was the actor in Indiana Jones. He was the child actor in The Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Big role when you're a kid. Never worked since.
Other than the Goonies.
I don't think he did the Goonies.
He did the Goonies. I can't bother to look it up.
And then he thought he'd never work again. For 20 years he was out there. Maybe even 25 years. Then he got this job.
Yeah.
Out
and
of
now
nowhere.
He's just swept up.
Yeah, and he's crying in all these interviews and stuff.
He's very happy.
Yeah, happy guy.
He's the happiest man.
Can't believe
it. Yeah.
He thought he was fucked.
He's not even bothered to try and play it cool.
He can't believe his luck.
Yeah, which I don't know whether I like.
Would you play it cool if you haven't worked for 30 years? Then you just get the role of a lifetime, win an Oscar.
I think I'd be really bitter about it.
Imagine
how many
really
Oscars I could have won if you bastards gave me just a couple of jobs. Literally, you give me one job and it's there.
Yeah. And I don't know how great was the main lady.
Your face did something weird then.
Michelle Yeoh.
I can't really. I watched this film ages ago.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't like
the comedy, but
I like the ending.
Yeah.
No, I thought the thing I hated the most about it was the comedy.
Yeah.
Because it was just random, silly. It was kind of like a throwback to
like random
the
humor
noughties,
when we were like,
which was it was just a bit childish humor, but there was some that was okay. But I quite like the ending. I quite like the emotional ending.
Yeah.
But I wasn't enthused by it.
I think it was
any of the characters.
I think it was this all of everyone's characters all the time.
So do you think it was the everything and everywhere that was
I think it was I think it was the amount of everything all the time constantly happening that actually took me out of now.
So if it was just everywhere all at once, you could have got it.
Maybe.
But if you include everything, it's a bit too much.
I think some things all at once would have been a better film.
Yeah, a few things now and again. Then that's a bit more palatable.
Yeah. But I also the amount of people who love that film and it blows their mind. They come out the cinema like, wow, they're giving £10 to a homeless guy. They're skipping down the street.
Yeah.
It makes me think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if I rewatched it.
Well, I don't know, because I had the opinion where I was like, it's decent, but it's not amazing.
Yeah, don't think because you liked it.
You're right.
And that I didn't like it, that suddenly you're like, oh, maybe I didn't like it.
Have an opinion.
Have an opinion.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying
You're not as much of a tastemaker as you
I think I am.
Are.
I think I'm a taster. I think I'm a trendsetter.
What trends have you
I
set?
think I've set a lot of trends.
Such as shoes.
No.
Socks.
Birkenstocks with mismatched shoes. Everyone's doing this now.
Mismatching socks.
Socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should probably get on to the big topic.
Yeah,
of the week.
the big topic of the day.
Gary
Lineker, Boy Gone Wild. He's made a couple of appearances for different reasons, and this is what's interesting about Gary Lineker is the diversity of reasons he's been talked about on the pod. Because when he said he was a victim of racism.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. There was. It's beginning to look a lot.
Oh God,
It's
yeah.
beginning to look Chris Messy.
It's beginning to look. It's beginning. Yeah,
It's beginning to look Chris Messy.
it's beginning to look a bit like Chris Messy.
No, I think you always think the pun was better than it was,
Yeah.
and you're always taken aback by how bad the pun was.
So what was the pun?
The pun was, it's beginning to look Chris Messy.
I am taken aback by that.
You thought there was more to it.
I thought it went into the actual lyrics of the
Yeah,
song.
it's beginning to look a lot like Chris or something like
Yeah,
that. But I think it's beginning to look Chris Messy.
It's astounding. It's great. It does make it even better. It does make it even better. Yeah.
So that, very different vibe for victim of racism. And now we've got this, which I guess isn't really Boy Gone Wild. It's actually quite... we were up here when the news notification came out.
Are we? What, doing a podcast or writing?
Writing. And I think our first read of it was like... So Gary Lineker's... It was before he was kicked off the air. Gary Lineker's told that his tweet comparing...
Yeah.
the Tories to 1930s Germany.
Yeah.
Our first read was it probably is a bit much.
Probably is a bit much
to compare them to
the
Nazis.
Yeah,
If
because
you're
it is
on
a bit
BBC.
much.
It is a bit much.
But it's fine that you can do that a bit much.
And then he got kicked off, and now it's become this unbelievably huge thing.
Yeah.
How have your opinions changed since that first moment?
No, because my opinions in the first moment was evaluating his tweet.
Sure.
And I was like, that's probably a bit much of a comparison. But they're not kicking him off due to his historical inaccuracy.
Yeah.
They're kicking him off because he's doing an opinion on the government, basically. So there hasn't really changed. Like the tweet the tweet is a bit much of a like the you can make. I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to make the comparison. I'm just saying it's a bit much.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's a bit much.
Yeah.
But well, yeah. I mean, it's changed because it's insane how he can get kicked off match of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so soaked in, quite frankly, corruption.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm
Nice.
bringing in the C word.
But the reaction's been pretty overwhelming.
Yeah, it is funny because it does.
successful.
Yeah. Well, he's back on. He's back on now.
Yeah.
Isn't he? I mean, because at first I was like, yeah, shouldn't I was talking to my stepdad actually about this. Because I hadn't read it properly.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah, sure, but BBC pundits have to be, impartial. But then the truth is that like it was on his personal Twitter account. It wasn't on Match of the Day. It wasn't on BBC like programming. And there's a kind of a rule that if you have to be impartial with the thing that you're an expert on. So and Gary Lineker isn't an expert on refugees or World War II.
Interesting.
So you can have his thing is football.
He's not impartial on that.
He's not impartial on
He's a
football,
Leicester fan.
but no one really cares about impartiality on football. You want a bit of a...
Yeah.
It'll be hilarious if he got kicked off for celebrating Leicester's Premier League win. But no, it's insane. And obviously it's a ridiculous thing that shouldn't have happened. And then by itself, but then the BBC chairman's like, help Boris Johnson get a loan.
Alan Sugar did loads of anti-Corbyn tweets when he was...
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of anti-Corbyn shit... No one's ever been kicked off for being anti-Corbyn on the BBC.
That's true.
No one gives a fuck. So,
Yeah.
And I think the moment of like... there was a brief moment I was like trying to be objective because I know the prevailing wind will always be in favour of Gary. So I was trying to think what's actually the case. Thank you. And I was like, okay, maybe the rules... If the rules are impartiality, then you knew what you signed up for.
That's what I went to.
And then I thought about, but they're not that.
Yeah.
It really is inconsistent. And it is complete double standard.
Yeah.
And it is clearly what I
But
think...
if you can't have a football presenter saying something on Twitter,
Yeah.
that's not what he's there for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That should always be fine.
But the policy clearly comes from the BBC shift that I think has happened in the last 3-4 years, which is the question about funding, the question about the license fee has partly, and also basically since Brexit,
Yeah.
the fury towards the BBC by Brexiteers in this country of feeling unrepresented and seeing the BBC as this liberal institution that people pay taxes into, but actually only represents the views of the metropolitan tofu eating wokerati.
Yeah.
And so they've trying to have pushback that wherever they can.
But then there's the opposite side saying the opposite thing.
Yeah.
As we spoke about this actually before, of just you never. I'm not an expert in media bias.
Yeah.
But all of the slightly more hardcore left think it's too right wing, and all of the slightly more hardcore right think
it's got a double bias, which is that it's definitely got a metropolitan liberal bias because most people on BBC are, and it's definitely very woke and leftist in that way.
Yeah.
But then it also has a governmental economic bias, I feel.
With
like Koonsberg, after Johnson got elected, I thought it was astonishing to watch.
Yeah.
The glowing praise she had for how amazing Johnson's election victory was.
Yeah.
And it feels like a lot of that side of it was more, and it's
well,
basically
it's interesting,
status quo.
Because BBC News is different to like the Guardian or the Mail, because when they actually report like a news article, it's literally just statements of facts.
Yes.
But I guess they have to, but they kind of have to have like opinion pieces as well.
Yeah.
And then you've just got to get a balance of different people. But I guess because like Koonsberg, who are the other ones?
Don't know.
Nick something.
Mm-hmm. Nick
Robinson.
Yeah.
I guess I don't really know, but I don't. They will, but you have to. They're going to have to lean one way or the other if it's an opinion.
It's the problem is that the government does affect their future so much.
Yeah.
So if they are constantly anti-Tory, it's going to potentially cut. Like the BBC could have a lot of funding cut.
Yeah.
Which is not a good place for the BBC to be, and I think that's why he acted rashly. The chairman.
Wait, because
the BBC's future's under threat from the Tories.
Yeah.
And a big reason why the Tories are so adamant on trying to cut down BBC as an institution is because they feel it's kind of socially certainly anti-Tory. But then everyone thinks it's pro. I don't know. It's confusing.
It's also, but it's fun seeing because they have to do it more than anyone, and I'm not really sure how much of examples of this there are. Whether it happened with like the News of the World with the phone tapping stuff. But the BBC News, because they have to be impartial, when the story is them, they have to put it as their headline. Like on BBC News was the BBC News chaos.
Yeah.
Which is always fun seeing them reporting on it.
Yeah.
And there's been doing the rounds on social media where it was on BBC News.
Yeah.
And the presenter was like, BBC News have asked BBC News for a comment.
And BBC
but
News
they get to respond. BBC News have rejected. Well, it'd be fun if she did she could have done like a half and half thing where she wore like a dress and a suit and did an interview with herself switching like that.
Yeah.
Being BBC News and BBC News.
But they didn't.
But they decided not to go that way.
Yeah.
And that's why the institution's going in the shitter.
I've been interested by how much people have clung to this story. Like people talking about loving this story, being fascinated by this story.
You know why?
Why?
Slow news.
Must be.
We said how there was no news.
It's quite remarkably dull.
Yeah.
I don't find it that interesting
but it's
at all. I thought it was a relatively dull story.
But it's just culture war stuff.
Yeah.
And everyone laps up a culture war stuff.
I saw someone saying who knew that I would be standing 3 football presenters. I'd never watched football in my life. Stuff like that.
What my thoughts went to Letitia.
Yeah, let's get Matt back.
Yeah. Well, he was Sky, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But let's just pretend that he wasn't Sky.
Yeah.
For the purpose of this conversation. What did he do?
He denied the war crimes in Bucha.
Right.
In Ukraine.
Yeah.
Said it was a hoax.
Yeah. But that's where this is why it's such an ongoing debate, and it's always going to be an ongoing debate. But that's why people love talking about it, because there isn't an answer. So then everyone can have an opinion.
Yeah.
But it's like, if we're
not
going to allow
opinions.
Pardon?
Or you can eat buffet of opinions.
But no one's doing that. Everyone's serving their own buffet.
Yeah.
Of their own opinions. No one's eating them.
Yeah.
It's actually very profound. It's not very profound. But Letitia, where do we draw the line between Letitia saying the Ukraine war crimes are a hoax and Gary Lineker calling the UK's asylum or refugee policy as that of World War II.
Well, it's about balance. It's not just impartiality, but there's about presenting balance on the BBC, isn't it?
I guess you can also,
So you could have Laetitia and Gary Lineker on Match of the Day, and then you could have them both undermining each other's opinions.
I think the best situation
of balance
would be we don't go back. Match of the Day is no longer about football.
Yeah,
we get Gary Lineker and Matt Laetitia on.
Yeah,
Gary Lineker only talks about how the UK's refugee policy is akin to Germany in World War II.
Yeah, and
Laetitia just talks about how UK war crimes don't exist. Ukraine.
Now, I like that idea. This is a bit off the wall, but I think BBC needs to do something to reinvigorate. The BBC are in a really tough spot. It's been a terrible PR disaster for the BBC commissioner. I think he needs to act decisively and boldly. Rebrand Match of the Day to Snatch of the Day.
Right, and what would that be?
It would be Ian Wright, Alan Shearer, and Gary Lineker. So you get Gary Lineker back, but in a different way, and they're rating snatches.
Right. Yeah. So
they're ranking them.
Where would they get these images?
They're sent in from the British public.
Right. That really changes it.
And it says the location. It'll be like Barbara from Guildford.
Yep.
And then they discuss the snatch.
Right.
In detail, and using their expertise as analysts.
Yeah.
Now I think that's bold.
I think
a lot of people aren't going to like it.
Yeah.
But I think it will be looked back on as saving his career.
Well, it's a rebrand, isn't it? It's a rebrand for the BBC.
Match of the Day no longer exists. The much loved highlight show is gone, but Snatch of the Day will bring in new fans.
Maybe that could be post Watershed, but pre Watershed, it's
well, Match of the Day is post Watershed anyway. It's at 10:30 on a Saturday.
Right, so we've already solved
that. That's prime time Snatch time.
Well, that's one problem solved. And I don't think there's any other. I don't think there's any other problems at all.
The thing is, I was about to bring
fishing.
Up. Yeah.
Is that what it's based on though? Match of the Day.
Maybe.
Catch of the Day.
It probably is actually. It's probably one of his fucking puns.
It is.
He comes from a long line of punners.
Yeah.
But something I was going to bring up Gary Lineker on previous podcasts because I have this weird relationship with Gary Lineker.
It's very one-sided. Yeah.
Yes. And now this whole thing is frustrating because it's sort of it's going to mean that he's giving him a second win now.
Yeah.
Because I do think he was faltering as a presenter. From really loving Gary, he's accelerated into this elder statesman figure.
Yeah.
And he's got this granddaddy or even daddishness, I guess now.
Yeah.
That, because I watch Match of the Day, it's probably my favourite programme.
Yeah.
And he does this, if you watch the way he sits and the way he talks is...
You think he's too big for his boots?
Yes, and he's just got this he's starting to act like David Attenborough, and I think it's time we get rid of him.
Do you think?
But we can't get rid of him now.
Well, yeah, because,
which is annoying.
Yeah, and he's going to come back even harder.
Yeah.
Also, this isn't an original take, but I am very much looking forward to the pun he does to come back into on his first Match of the Day. It's going to be huge. Because you have to address it.
With a pun?
Well, yeah, it'll be a pun.
He doesn't really know how to express his emotions any other way.
Yeah, it's true. Other than on Twitter.
What would you think it could be?
You're going to have to give me a minute.
That's not very good.
Well, no, I wasn't even thinking.
It would be something about impartial.
No.
Impartial. Anthony Impartial.
This is why you're not on the BBC Match of the Day writing team.
Man United have scored another goal. I wonder who it is. Probably Anthony Impartial.
That's not a very good opener. It's not a very good opener to the show.
We're going to go over to the Patreon now.
Where the pun will be revealed. So what better reason to pay £2.50?
We're going to put the pun behind a paywall.
Yeah. As we should do more often.
We should put all puns behind a paywall and a firewall.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.
Wait, like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe.
And comment if you want. But like and subscribe, and the Patreon's fun. Bye.